Okay, we're going to go over our review to get us prepared for our upcoming CBA. But what we're going to do on the reviews this go around is I'm going to go through and do all the questions that do not require a calculator, and then I'll go back and do all the questions that do. So we're starting with number 5, and it says the area of a rectangle is 18x cubed y to the 6th, and the width is 6xy squared, and it's asking what is the length. Okay, so let's remember that the area of a rectangle is just length times width. So if I plug in what they have given me, that's my area, and I don't know what the length is, and then my width is 6xy squared. So if you just do some basic algebra skills, I need the L to be by itself. So that means if I divide by 6xy squared, that will cancel on this side, and then I have to divide by 6xy squared over here. So let's look at this, because this is what we learned this school year on how to simplify this. So I'm going to spread some things out. I'm going to have 18 over 6. And then I'm going to have my x cubed, which is x times x times x, over x. And then I'll have my y over y squared, which is y times y. And now we can just simplify. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. I can cancel out any x's that I have that are the same number as in the numerator and the denominator. So those are gone, at least 2 x's. And then I'll cancel out these y's, this pair of y's, and that leaves 1 y in the denominator. So there would be my answer for number 5. Okay, so let's go to number 6. It says the blueprint of a sandbox on a playground shows that it has an area of, can't see that, there we go. An area of 45x to the 5th minus 15x. The length of the sandbox is 5x. Find the width. Okay, so basically it's going to be the same thing, right? We have a rectangular sandbox. This is the formula we're going to use. Let's plug in what we know. We have 45x to the 5th over 15x. Not over, sorry, minus 15x. And then, getting ahead of myself, equals 5x, and then times my width, which we do not know, correct? Okay, so again, let's do exactly what we did in number 5. I want the w to be by itself, so that means I am dividing by 5x on both sides of my equation, or my equal sign, and then I can simplify from there. Now, the difference in number 6 and number 5 is number 6 we have a minus sign. Up here in number 5 it was just all multiplication, so I can just simply reduce like we did. But over here, because I have a minus sign, I actually have to factor. So if I look at 45 and 15, I can see that I can factor out a 15 out of both of those. And then I have x cubed and an x, so I have a greatest common factor of just x. So now let's multiply. 15 times 3 will give me the 45. X times x to the 4th will give me x to the 5th, minus 15 times 1 will give me the 15, and then x times 1 also will give me the x. So I just need to put a 1 here. And that's going to be over this 5x. And then simplify whatever you can. Well, we can see that 5 will go into 5 once. 5 will go into 15 3 times. And then my x's will cancel each other, just like they were canceling up here. So I am left with 3 and then a parentheses, 3x to the 4th minus 1. So that would be the width that we were looking for. Okay? Okay, I'm going to go on and I'm doing number 7, 8, 9, and 10. So all of them just say to convert the following into slope-intercept form. So let's remind ourselves what that looks like. Y equals mx plus b. So I just basically need my y to be by itself. So if I look at number 7, right away I see a parentheses and I have a negative sign in front. I need to distribute that negative sign so that I can eliminate the parentheses. So I have y plus 4 equals a negative x, and then a negative times a negative will give me a positive. And then to get my y by itself, I need to get rid of this 4. So it's adding right now, so that means we're going to subtract. I'll do the same thing on both sides of my equal sign. So the 4's will cancel here. It leaves my y. I have a negative x. And then I have a positive 4 minus 4. So again, those cancel. So this is my final answer for number 7. Okay, number 8, let's do it again. Again, I have parentheses, and so I have a 2 in the front this time, so I'm distributing that 2. So I have y minus 4 equals 2x, and then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Again, I need to eliminate this 4. It's a negative or a minus 4 right now, so the opposite operation would be to add 4 to both sides. So these 4's cancel, my y stays, I bring down my 2x, and then I have a negative 2 plus 4, which will give me a positive 2. So there's the answer for that one. Okay, let's keep going. Number 9, again, I'm going to distribute. So I will have y plus 5 on the left, and on the right I will have a negative 8x, and then a negative 8 times 4 will give me a negative 32. Again, trying to get the y by itself, so I need to subtract 5 from the left. That means I subtract 5 from the right. Those are gone. It leaves my y. Bring down my x term. And then I have negative 32 minus 5, which will give me a negative 37. Okay, last one. Again, distributing the term that's in front of the parentheses. That leaves me y plus 3 equals 53x plus 212. Again, I need to get the y by itself, so I will eliminate this number by subtracting. I have to do that on both sides of my equal sign. 3 minus 3 is gone. Bring down my x term. And then 212 minus 3 will give me a positive 209. And there you go. Okay, we're going to skip over and I'm going to do 13, 14, 15, and 16. So it just says to simplify the expressions. So if you'll notice that it is a multiplication problem and my bases are the same. So what do we do with our exponents when I'm multiplying and the bases are the same? So do you remember the rule? It was we add the two together. So I have a 3 plus a negative 6. And so that will give me a negative 3. Now, issue here. Do I leave it with a negative exponent in my answer? And that answer would be no. So now the rule for that is, do you remember if we have a negative exponent, we write the reciprocal. Recall that? Okay, so I'm going to have to rewrite this as 1 over a to the positive 3. Okay, let's go on. Over here, again, I'm multiplying and I have like bases, so I'm going to regroup. I'm going to have my a's together, so I have a times a to the negative 2. And then I'm going to have b to the 4th times b to the 3rd. And then we'll add. So remember, when I don't have an exponent, there's an understood 1 exponent there. And so I'm going to add those. So I'm going to have 1 plus negative 2. And my b's, I will have 4 plus 3. So now I'm going to have a to the negative 1. And then I will have b to the positive 7. Again, I cannot leave my answer with a negative exponent. So the negative exponent term is going to have to go to the denominator. And then the positive will stay right where it is. So do I really need to put the 1 there? I don't. So I will just leave it like that. Okay, moving on, number 15. This time they're asking us to figure out what term or what number would go in place of my n to make this statement true. So look what we're doing, guys. We are multiplying, right? So the rule for multiplying with exponents means I actually add them. So if I just look at the exponents only, technically this is what I have. A negative 3 plus something is going to give me this positive 10. So let's just turn it into an algebra problem. So I want to get my n by itself. I have a negative 3, so I will do the opposite, which means I'm going to add 3 to both sides of my equal sign. So this is gone. My n is by itself. And so my n is going to equal 13. Okay, let's look at what we have on number 16. So they've done part of it for us, but not all of it. It's just a multiplication problem. So again, let's see what we have. We're going to say x to the first times x to the negative 9. And then we have, of course, the y to the 6th times y to the positive 1. So if I do this, again, I'm adding 1 plus negative 9. And then here I'll have 6 plus 1. So 1 plus negative 9 is going to give me a negative 8. I'm sorry, that should be an x. Oh, sorry. Here we go. 1 plus negative 9 was a negative 8. And then y to the 6 plus 1 is a positive 7. Now look what we have, you guys. This is the way they wrote it. So even though my exponent is negative, they're asking what the n is, so we're going to leave it as n equals a negative 8.